Hello EFD squad and welcome back to the Euro Roundup where me and Pat pick your winners and losers from the weekend just past. How are you this morning, Van Strawn?
Good.
Full of piss and vinegar.
No, let's just move on. Cheer me up with some balagay.
I do have a little serving of balagay for you. Basically, he sent me a little, WhatsApp to say, I know what to talk about this week, Chris. I know what will get the comments racing. Who deserves more credit, Barcelona for doing the double or Real Madrid for winning the Champions League? Because apparently, according to him, a lot of Spanish sources are saying the latter. Love a Spanish sauce. What's your favourite Spanish sauce?
Ooh.
Blue cheese.
Ooh, yeah, probably like queso fundido. That's good.
Anyway, let's go over to the video.
Move on.
So, Barcelona won the league, as it was expected, and an interesting debate has taken place both in Spain and in England, and in social networks. So, Barcelona win the league and the cup, but there is a sense that he hasn't got the same weight and he doesn't deserve the same glory than if Real Madrid win the Champions League. And of course, for a team to win a league, it means they were consistent for a long time, that they found a lot of obstacles that they had to overcome, that they maximized the potential of a squad that in the case of Barcelona, as I said in the past, perhaps is not the strongest in a while. And meanwhile, Real Madrid just had to do really good, especially having come out of the group stages just in 5 games to the stage we're in right now. So, what do you think? Do you think that winning the Champions League justifies a whole season, or at least deserves the glory, deserves that the players of Real Madrid become the big heroes of this season, including taking some of the individual trophies? Or do you think that the league and the cup is reward enough to actually say to somebody like Barcelona, well done, you are the team of the season?
Yes, I'm going to make the case for Barcelona. Real Madrid's achievement this year, should they win the Champions League, is not unprecedented. In fact, it's incredibly precedented. They do it all the time. Whereas Barcelona might well go unbeaten for the first time in La Liga history. Now, this season was the earliest they've wrapped up the title since Louis van Gaal was manager. It's their 25th La Liga title. It's their 4th domestic double this century, mate. They're 11 points clear. They've still got a game in hand. They've won 26 out of 34 games. Absolutely nuts. Interestingly enough, they've done it as well by playing in a really kind of un-Barca-ish way. They've scored about 2.6 goals a game, so if they carry on at that rate, they'll end the season with 97 league goals. That will be their lowest tally since 2010-11. But on the other hand, defensively, they have been a juggernaut. They're averaging 0.6 goals conceded per game. They've conceded 21 in the league. That means that it's only the 3rd time in the last 10 years they've conceded under 25 league goals in a campaign. Remarkable for a side that we always saw as having a bit of a soft centre. On the other hand, they are, I suppose, quite reliant on a few players. Though, if you're going to talk about Real Madrid, we can have that same argument there. Lionel Messi, he's got 32 La Liga goals and 12 assists. That's typically insane numbers. Luis Suarez, 23 goals, 9 assists. The next best scorer is Paulinho with 8 goals. And I swear to God, all of those happened in about the first 4 games of the season. Yeah. The maniac. I don't know. If going through a league season unbeaten is pretty remarkable. Your team's done it. My team's done it. Maybe Barcelona can join the elite club with Celtic and Arsenal.
Yeah. Messi's averaging 0.9 goals per league game this season at 31.
He's isn't he? That's what everyone tells me on Twitter. They say, stop riding Messi's dick. I say, I would.
I mean,
but it's an incredibly effective dick.
I hope one day, to do that physically, not just metaphorically.
No, you'd crush him. He's a tiny man.
Anyway, I've got big old thighs. And I suppose now, for the sakes of balance, I have the unenviable task of putting forward Real Madrid, who are on the cusp of winning 4 Champions Leagues in 5 years. Both unprecedented, undefeated campaign, pretty much unbeatable in Europe. What can you say, Van Straten? Didn't have a great start to the season, did they, Real Madrid? And it actually wasn't a vintage campaign in the Champions League, particularly the group stage where they lost to Spurs at Wembley and then drew at the Bernabeu. Moments away from being taken to extra time by Juventus, who were in the ascendancy until Benatia came through the back of Earthworm Jim. So there has been occasions where they have rode their luck this European campaign, right? Especially when expecting goals had that Bayern victory at a 3-1 defeat. I think Bayern having 17 shots to Real Madrid's 5, or even 4. We actually covered that in a UCL review a couple of weeks ago. But you can't knock a couple of Zidane's substitutes. Unorthodox, but working for him. Bringing on Isco bringing off Isco at half-time, and bringing on Asensio, not starting Bale, persisting with Benzema on occasions. It seemed like most of this has been odd to everyone except Zidane. And as much as Barcelona have been dependent upon Messi this campaign, Real Madrid have also been pretty reliable, pretty indebted to the performances of Cristiano Ronaldo, haven't they? His Champions League campaign reads as follows: 15 goals and 3 assists in 11 UCL games. That's a goal every 66 minutes in the competition. The next best is Salah and Ben Yedder on 81. Ben Yedder, pretty impressive from him, right?
Yeah, not bad.
And Marcelo as well, big game player for Real Madrid. He scored in each of the last 16, the quarterfinals and the semi-finals. I think he has now got 3 in his last 5. So, I mean, a lot rides on that second leg against Bayern Munich, right? I don't see Bayern overcoming Real Madrid away from home. But I also think Liverpool have the best tools in the competition now to take down Real Madrid. I think Liverpool work better over 2 legs. I will give Real Madrid that. They are very good in finals. But if Real Madrid afford the same sort of space to Liverpool's front 3 that they did to Bayern's ageing front line, then I think they'll be in real trouble, Van Straan.
Yeah.
We'll throw this to a poll, but
let's
what do
do
you
that.
think of Real Madrid, quickly?
I think Liverpool are going to win the Champions League.
Oh, shades of 2005.
I hope Bayern beat them like they did last season, but even though they ended up getting robbed by shit linesman work.
I remember when Bayern were incredible as well at the Bernabeu under Pep and still drew 1-1. So yeah, Liverpool, Real Madrid final. Paul, who do you think deserves more kudos? Let us know.
Our first winners of the week are Juventus, and it looks unfortunately like Serie A might be virtually wrapped up.
Yeah, by Villarreal winners. They beat Inter Milan 3-2 in dramatic fashion to stretch their lead back to 4 points at the top of Serie A with 3 games to go. Their sternest opposition now being Roma, Van Straan. They need just 6 points to secure a 7th consecutive title. They're doing to Serie A what Celtic are currently doing to the SPFL. And if they achieve this feat, it will mean that a 5th of the club's total scudetti, that's 34 if they win this year, will have been won this decade. That is incredible.
That's crazy.
One of my favourite stats from the weekend. Just so dominant, the old lady. It was the Turin side's first win in 3 after they drew with Crotone and lost to Napoli last week in that epic. We actually discussed the Portnopi over on Winners and Losers. Go and check that out afterwards. But Juve now remain on course to record their best ever Serie A points total since 2014, when they got 102.
Not bad.
Not bad at all. Take over.
Yeah, well, it kind of looked like all was lost to Inter. About 20 minutes in, they'd had a man sent off. They were down a goal thanks to Douglas Costa, but managed to come back into it thanks to a header from Mauro Icardi from a set-piece situation, and Barzagli scored an own goal, and suddenly it looked like it was on. I was so excited. I thought that Inter were going to win. I thought Napoli were going to win the league. Until the end, when Cuadrado managed to wriggle into a little bit of space, banged one against Skriniar, somehow looped its way into the goal, and then Higuain scored from a header. In the space of 3 minutes, those goals came, turning the result around and handing Juve what looks like an unassailable lead in the race for their Scudetto. Now, that was Higuain's 16th Serie A strike this season, though it was his first in 6 games. What a time to get it. He had missed a couple of chances in this match. Juan Cuadrado, though, was particularly impressive. Even though he was being played as a right-back, which is not his favoured position, he was very good in attack, and he didn't neglect his defensive duties. 5 tackles and interceptions, 4 aerial duels won, which is quite surprising, 3 dribbles completed with a 100% success rate, and 2 key passes. Very, very good stuff. You've also got to give a shout out to Max Allegri, who knows exactly what it takes to win a title. He was actually sent off after entering the field and stopping Juve's celebrations after Higuain netted what proved to be the winner. He was telling them to get back in position, see out the rest of the game, make sure that they got the 3 points. But by going onto the pitch, he pissed the referee off and he was ejected. Anyway, it looks like Juve are already thinking about their 8th Scudetto next season. Looks like they're going to sign Chan from Liverpool, according to Calcio Mercato. Going to offer him a 5-year deal at €6 million a year, which would make him one of their top earners. The question is, do they have the title wrapped up? I think that even if they lose to Roma, they'd still have to drop a point. Napoli, of course, lost to Fiorentina. It's all got a bit depressing, really. I'm afraid that Juve are sort of the enemies of football. And I really hope that they lose the Scudetto after that horrific performance they put in against Napoli last week. It was a really kind of disgusting game plan that they came out with, and I'm glad they lost. But I don't know, once again, they're going to be celebrating in Turin this season. Congratulations. Well done. You've ruined Italian football.
Our next losers are Monaco, and this comes from Swagato Sarkar. Basically, I had to pick someone that wasn't Spanish because, as you'll see, we cover La Liga pretty extensively this week. Don't worry, in future weeks, Portuguese, Dutch shall return. But, you know, everyone had a Spanish vibe this weekend. Go on.
Leonardo Jardim's men had a bit of a disappointing weekend. They drew 0-0 with Amiens, who are in 13th in Ligue 1. And if Marseille had won, they didn't, they drew, then actually Monaco would have finished the weekend in 4th, having been 2nd previously, which would be a huge step back. They have gone from, what was it, a Champions League semi-final and a title win last season to Europa League football. It's not particularly exciting. This is actually the first time in 53 home games that Monaco have failed to score. The last time that happened was in August 2015 when they lost 3-0 to PSG. My God, they were bad in front of goal. They had 16 shots, only 1 on target, though that was actually cleared off the line. So, could have been very different, who knows. Anyway, I want to talk about Gabriel Bosquilha, the 22-year-old Brazilian. He was a little bit wasteful, missed a sitter after being put in by Falcao. Took 3 shots on the night, none on target. Not a particularly good performance from him, and kind of indicative of the way their season's gone. Obviously, let PSG wrap up the title by thumping them 7-1, and this is no less embarrassing, really.
Amiens actually came pretty close themselves, Patrick van Straten, with ex-Chelsea player Gael Kakuta, of all people, now 26 years old, former wonder kid, hitting the post with a very decent looping effort, actually, and it was an incredible save by Subasic. Incredible reactions, tipped it onto the post. And the 26-year-old attacking midfielder is actually Amiens' 2nd top goal scorer with just 6 this season. So this is not a side that's particularly prolific in front of goal. He also has 5 assists to his name as well.
That's not bad.
Kakuta. His 2nd most productive season to date, following last year in Spain, I believe.
Yeah.
And to add insult to injury, Monaco also had substitute Diakabi sent off in the 91st minute after a shocking lunging tackle on Prince. The Amiens man was also sent off for his reaction, maybe somewhat harshly, because it definitely warranted a little, you know.
It was a Tomlinson special.
Squaresies. Fabinho, his performance, one of the few positives for Monaco, and a player that I imagine a lot of top clubs are still keeping one eye on. In this game, PVS, 7 aerial duels won, 6 interceptions, 4 tackles, 2 key passes from the base of midfield, and pass accuracy of 87% from 67 balls, which was a second high, in the game after, I think,
wow,
João Moutinho, who, that's what he does, he passes. As a result of this game, Amiens mathematically secured their League 1 credentials, and only 6 points at the bottom now separates 14th from 18th. So it is getting a little bit hairy down there. Monaco play Cayenne next week with 3 games left of the league in the season. They're not particularly, I think they have Troy as well, not particularly hard matches, but they're making it difficult in terms of securing Champions League football, which would be the silver lining of this season, right?
Yeah, and we're hearing rumours as well about a new manager taking over, right? There are rumours that Gallardo might come in to take over from Jardim. Jardim could be on the move with a bunch of big clubs looking for a new manager.
Arsenal.
Could be interesting to see what happens to Monaco. Maybe they get Wenger back, mate. Won the title with them, didn't he? Your boy?
Ended acrimoniously then, didn't it?
No, it ended amazingly. Our second and final winners of the week are Villarreal. This comes from Mikhail. This better be good, mate, because if Villarreal are in here, then you assume they've done something.
Done a madness.
Have they done a madness?
Yes, I think Dougie has selected them for the sakes of variety, because variety is the spice of life. And this was quite a spicy game, it would seem, actually. The Yellow Submarine battered Celta Vigo, who I've quite enjoyed watching this season. 4-1 at home to stay in the hunt for Europa League football. Villarreal, very, very clinical. Last season, we saw they were very defensively sound. This season, Padre and Strand taking their chances at the other end of the field. Only 38% possession, had 13 shots against Celta Vigo's 15 and 7 on target against Vigo's 4. Now, 31-year-old striker Carlos Bacca, who's on loan from AC Milan and seems to just score goals wherever he goes, pretty much. Rolled back the years with a hat-trick in this game. Now has 15 goals in 32 games this season, not to be sniffed at whatsoever. And he's actually had a really productive season. On top of those 15 goals, he has 5 assists as well, and he's registering 63% of his shots on target. Second only to Antoine Griezmann, who's actually done pretty well to claw that back to 65, because when I was looking at the start of the season, when he was struggling a little bit, his numbers were bad. He's been involved in 41% of all of Villarreal's league goals this season. The next highest goal scorer is Bakambu. He got 12 and he left for China in what, February?
Something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Where am I on the script? Yes, February. After that, 2 players have scored 5. One of which is 26-year-old Nicola Sansone, who's had 10 shots this season, put 9 of them on target and scored 5 goals in just 10 appearances. This guy is
lethal.
He's got, what's that drug that Bradley Cooper takes in that film?
It's called like DMX or something.
Celta Vigo then scored through Danish winger Pione Sisto, who's actually racking up very good numbers this season on the sly, and Samu Castillejo added the 4th in injury time for Villarreal. Bacca, though, he's on fire, isn't he, mate?
Yeah, 2 dribbles, 5 shots. All 5 of those shots were on target. 3 goals, only lost the ball once. I mean, there were some really good performances in this game. Villarreal are now in 6th. They're 5 points clear of Getafe, but they've got a pretty tough schedule, so this win came just when they needed it. They actually only had 1 win in their last 4 games before this one, all against opponents lower in the table. And coming up, there's Valencia, Real Madrid, and Barcelona away. So they were pretty lucky that Celta Vigo were missing Iago Aspas in this game. 30-year-old Iago Aspas, out with a hamstring injury at the moment, has scored 20 goals and assisted 5 in La Liga. Been involved in 46% of Celta Vigo's goals this season. And he's just been an incredible signing. Since he joined them from Sevilla, he's got 18 goals, 26 goals, and this season he's on track to beat even that in all competitions. Absolutely incredible. Celta Vigo looks like they're going to climb a couple of places. Last season 13th, this season they're in 11th. But they're still only 5 points clear of 17th place Levante. So if they're not careful, they could get sucked back into the relegation battle. Nonetheless, we wanted to give a little bit of shine to Villarreal. Congratulations to you. Let's just move on. I'm sick of pretending I care.
And to round off our La Liga special, our final losers are Sevilla. And this one comes from @Sifi_Mananos22. What happened against Levante?
They lost 2-1 away, and Vincenzo Montella lost his job. Now they've been in horrific form recently, Sevilla. They haven't won in the league since the 3rd of March. Since then, I think 4 losses, 3 draws. They've also gone out of the Champions League quarterfinals to Bayern Munich, though there's no shame in that. And they lost 5-0 in the Copa del Rey final. Again, no shame in that. But those are big, high-profile defeats. And I don't know, maybe Montella needed to get something out of those to keep his job, in which case maybe the standards are a little bit too high at Sevilla. It's a little bit unfortunate that he got the sack after this game. They had 56% possession, they had 22 shots versus 15 from Levante. 4 on target to 5, overall pretty even, could have gone either way. They're still 8th, but they're only ahead of Girona on goal difference. There are 3 teams within 4 points of them, so they could easily find themselves slipping into the lower half of the table. Given that they won 9 of their first 14 league games, the season could have gone very differently for them, but their defence has just been shocking recently. 14 goals conceded in 7 league games. Absolutely dreadful stuff. On the other hand, it does seem a little bit short-sighted to just sack Montella this close to the end of the season. But whatever, Sevilla are not known for their smart decisions.
Also reflects how good a job Sampaoli was doing last season.
Yeah.
I mean, their fortunes contrast completely with that of Levante's, whose victory actually secured their survival at the expense of Deportivo. So it was party time for Levante, Depor getting relegated after losing to Barcelona. And no doubt the key point in Levante's season was putting reserve team boss Paco Lopez in charge. Congratulations to whoever made that decision, because they've subsequently won 6 of their last 8 games, pulling themselves a million miles away from that relegation dogfight as a result. And key men have also come to the fore in this period, more specifically in this game. Jose Luis Moreles, probably Jose, butchered that. 5 shots, registering 2 on target in this game, completing 3 dribbles and grabbing an assist as well as a goal on the night. So pulling his team up by the bootstraps. And 24-year-old Jose Campana, very good at retaining possession during this game. 90% pass act, 3 dribbles, 2 tackles and 1 assist from him. So an all-action performance. For Sevilla, there were a couple of people at fault, specifically the 2 centre-backs, Lenglet and Mercado, who actually only made 2 tackles between them on the night, so weren't really at the races. And Caparros has quite the run into taking on Real Sociedad, Real Madrid and Real Betis, who of course are
all the royal clubs.
All the Reals. So I reckon they probably should have stuck with Montero to the end of the season and then evaluated it then.
Give it Giggsy.
You know, I don't run the club. Andalusia, lovely part of the world. Wish I lived there. Next. So that was the Euro roundup. Thank you for getting your suggestions in, guys. As always, when you see the tweet put out, ping me with your suggestions. Duh. Patrick Strong, what else is going on?
Stay right here on Euro Football Daily. Check out Stat Wars from the weekend, and obviously stick around for Stat Wars The Champions, which returns this coming weekend. Check out Hot Takes, our new show. Check out Personal Mastermind over on FDFC, and obviously watch Winners and Losers over on Football Daily as well if you want to see the other side of, I don't know, the Italian title race. If you're interested in that, fucking do what you want. Be your own person. Bye.